Hey people, it is Thursday, March the 17th, which is St. Patrick's Day, and it's also my nephew Max's 9th birthday today. So happy birthday to Max, and happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone else. And I'm here on Yonge Street, between Queen Street and Dundas, and I thought for today's walk, I'd walk around downtown, mainly through the southern end of downtown, in and around the financial district, part of the entertainment district, and the South Core. And as I walk through that area, I will be pointing out some of my favorite high-rise residential towers. About 5 or 6 of them maybe I can think of that I'm especially fond of. And we'll begin right here with the Massey Tower. So this is a 60-story condominium. It was completed in 2018, and it is over 200 meters tall. Most of the buildings I'll be pointing out will be quite tall. Most of them will be over 150 meters. And I didn't mention it's 4 degrees Celsius right now, and it's supposed to get up to 16 or 17 degrees later this afternoon. So there's another look up at the Massey Tower. My favorite thing about this building is the streamlined wraparound nature of the balconies. You can't even really tell they're balconies, which I'm rather fond of. I'm not too fond of protruding balconies on residential buildings. I like when they're hidden. And with this building, the design hides the balconies quite well. I mean, it's obvious they're there, but if you didn't know any better, you might not even realize that they are balconies. The sun is coming out. Throughout most of the morning it was still foggy. It was foggy the entire day yesterday. And it stubbornly refused to lift throughout the morning. So it looks like it's finally gone. So now that the sun is out and the fog is gone, I think the temperature will begin to rise pretty quickly. Probably over the course of recording this video, we'll get a few degrees in temperature, a few more degrees. Crossing Queen Street. I'm going to head west on Richmond Street here to take us through the financial district and into the entertainment district, where we'll find a couple more of my favorite buildings. And I'm anticipating it being fairly busy downtown today with the nice weather. And being Thursday, I think today is one of the days where a lot of people are going to be in the office. A lot of people have started working a hybrid schedule where they take Friday off or work from home on Friday and come in on Thursday. And I should also mention March the 17th is the 2-year anniversary, I think, of the beginning of the state emergency, which was enacted in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. Hard to believe it's been 2 whole years now, and only now are things finally starting to get back to normal. Bay Street.
I asked Ian, I said, well, fried all good, or do I go to Mom's Word? And he said, it's on. Why would Ian know? It's on most of the
Something like school.
They still have the emergency bar, right?
Got some Rolling Stones here. I'll just be sure to talk over that. I have a feeling if anything is bound to get me a copyright claim, it'll be the Rolling Stones. the shade though, there's definitely still a annoying chill in the air. I feel like this winter is just pulling every stop it can to drag on as long as possible. We're at York Street. See some sunlight up ahead. It'll be nice to walk through that. But of course I get the red light here. There's University Avenue. Right, here comes the sun. I guess that was short-lived. Now I'm going to be right back into the shade again here in a moment. As much as I love tall buildings and being in the middle of a big, dense city, that is one drawback at times, depending on the situation. Sometimes I welcome the shade in the super hot, muggy summer weather, but at times like this, I'd rather have the sun. Guess you can't win them all. I think I'm going to cross to the other side though, so we can get a better look at the next building I'll be pointing out. Well, that's cool. You can see the elevator going up on the side of the Hilton Hotel there. It moves pretty quickly. you can actually see the next building up ahead there. I'll wait till we get a bit closer before I talk about it a bit. This is Duncan Street, which provides an awesome view of the CN Tower. Talk over this music. Sometimes you're not expecting to come across music and then it just assaults you out of nowhere. Alright, so we're coming up on John Street. So I will be turning left here, but before I do that, we'll take a look at this cool building just up ahead here. And just as I do that, a large truck blocks my view. So we'll just come up ahead a bit more. So this is it. This is the Picasso. And you can see why I've chosen this building to be one of my favorites on this list. It's very unusual, very unorthodox, and very nice use of color as well. And once again, the balconies are not obtrusive. And it's a 39-story building. It's actually one of the shorter buildings I'll be showing on this walk. And it's actually a bit below 150 meters. So it's not quite a skyscraper. By most definitions, skyscrapers are buildings of 150 meters or 500 feet or more. And this one is 400 and some feet and less than 150 meters, but still, it's definitely a tall building in any case, and a very worthy building to be included on this list. Probably one of the most eye-catching condo buildings to go up in the city in recent years. And this one was completed in 2017. And I don't know, I think if I had a choice to live in any condo building in downtown Toronto, this would be near the top of the list. So that is the Picasso. Very aptly named building too, I would say. And now we'll just head back to John Street because the next building is actually just right around the corner. And now I'm getting some very nice sunlight. You know, just waiting for the sun to hide behind the actual building I'll be pointing out here. Here on the corner of John and Adelaide Street. And this is the PJ Condos. This is another new addition to the neighborhood. It was just completed in 2020. And it's 48 stories. And you might start to sense a pattern here. I kind of like buildings that aren't overly glassy, as so many condo buildings in the city are. If something looks different, I immediately like it. And this here with the red brick exterior, with the black trim, and the interesting angular base to it here, I think it's a very striking building. One of the best condo buildings to go up in the city in the last 10 years. And there are balconies here on the north side of the building, but as you can see, on the west side there are no balconies at all. So from some angles, you can't even tell that the building has balconies. So, very handsome building. We've already seen 3. We have a few more to go. There's all kinds of puddles here. Another view of the building. You can see on the east side there's also no balconies.
Alright, come like a week later with a little bit faster.
A bit later, one of the buildings I'll be pointing out does have very prominent balconies, but they're done in such a way that they actually add to the distinctiveness of the building. They're actually an architectural feature of the building, which is, I think if you're going to have balconies, that's the way to do it. Turn the balconies into something that catches people's eye. Makes the building stand out. Now this one is still under construction, obviously, but judging by the progress so far, I have a feeling that this will turn out to be one of my favorite condo buildings in the city. The glass here at the base is very, very nice. So far so good. We'll see how that one looks in another year or so. It's going to eventually top out at 58 stories. Alright, now south on Simcoe Street, we're going to make our way out of the entertainment district. Head down into the South Core. And there's another look at the PJ condos. After countless green or blue glassy condo towers, anything that is not a green or blue glassy condo tower immediately meets my approval. Admittedly, some of those glassy towers are very well done though. The Massey Tower I pointed out at the very beginning is one example of that. This is Roy Thompson Hall. Wellington Street. And this is a new office tower going up here at 160 Front. And the glass in this building is looking very nice as well. Office towers do tend to always have nice glass though. They don't really cheap out on the materials the way many condo towers do. Just crossing Front Street. So now we're descending under the rail corridor and into the South Core neighborhood. It is dank and cold under here. Ah, much better. The grass is still yellow. I think it's only a matter of a couple of weeks before it starts turning green. And here's Bremner Boulevard. Where you get the awesome view of the CN Tower. And up ahead you can see the Sky Dome.
go up there?
And I see the Lucky Clover Irish Pub is got their music pumping. I guess this is their big day. They've been waiting for 2 years for this. The last two St. Patrick's Days were a complete write-off. I have a feeling people are going to go crazy today, making up for 2 years of pent-up partying. Now we're underneath the Gardiner Expressway. I'm thinking I should have crossed there and then back to here again on the other side. I think I'll do that. Unless I can just run across here really quickly. Let's do it. It'll save me several minutes. Don't follow my example, kids. Because the next building is right up ahead here on this kind of island between Lakeshore Boulevard and Harbour Street. And this is it. This is called 10 York. And this one is awesome because it comes to almost a narrow point here on the west side. It's not quite a Flatiron building, but pretty close to it. And it certainly is here at the podium. It comes to a very sharp point. But this western side of the building is much narrower than the eastern end. So it has a very obvious triangular shape to it. It's a 65-story building, which was completed in 2018. And I'm quite fond of it. I think it has a pretty futuristic look, and it looks great on the skyline when viewed from the lake. The wide side of the building faces towards the lake. And there are no balconies on the south side here, which is the wide side. This is the wide side of the building here. And it's a more typical sort of glassy looking condo on this side, but I don't mind it so much. Once again, the balconies are very minimal, just on the edges of the building. And that's 10 York. I should give an honorable mention to the ice towers right next door. I think they're also quite well done. The kind of Swiss cheese roof element is very notable. You can't really see it from here, but if you ever get an aerial view of the buildings, you'll see what I'm talking about with the Swiss cheese factor of the roof elements. However, I hear that these buildings are a nightmare to live in. They're basically become one giant Airbnb, plagued by all kinds of problems and unpleasant situations for the long-term residents. So both 10 York and the ice towers are well over 200 meters, a range of 220 meters or so. And we have the usual traffic chaos here. The South Core is pretty chaotic with all the traffic coming on and off of the Gardner Expressway. And it can be a bit dangerous for pedestrians sometimes. Here's one last look. 10 York and the ICE condominiums. And just up the street here, up Harbour Street, is the Harbour Plaza condominiums. This is a twin tower development. And earlier I was mentioning the buildings with very interesting balconies that are part of the architectural design. Well, this is it here. You can see what they've done with the balconies. I think it looks pretty amazing, actually. This has always been one of my favorite buildings among the newer crop of condo towers. And the taller of the two, one is slightly taller than the other. The taller is 67 stories. And around 230 meters or so. And those were topped out in 2016. I haven't heard any horror stories about these buildings, unlike the ice towers. I'm sure they have their fair share of Airbnbs in the building, but for some reason they seem to be managing a lot better. And that's the CIBC Square office tower. A second tower, almost identical, is under construction now, just to the north of that first tower. And there's the towers of the financial district. And another look at Harbour Square, or Harbour Plaza, I suppose. I always called it Harbour Square for some reason until I found out it's actually called Harbour Plaza. Now this one I haven't included on my list, but it is a very well done new addition. This is the Prestige. It's the first phase of the One Yonge development, which is a huge multi-tower development. And this first phase is 65 stories. And these cranes you see here are currently constructing phase 2, which will be a 95-story tower over 300 meters in height. I believe 312 meters is the approved height of this super tall, future super tall. And if it turns out anything like the renders I've seen, it will probably be added to my list of favorite residential towers in the city. So now we're looking north up Yonge Street, and we're just about at the end of the tour.
That is some daredevil stuff, man.
As I mentioned, you have to be careful crossing here, even when you have a green light. People just go insane down here in their cars, trying to get on and off of the Gardner Expressway. They just lose any perception of the existence of pedestrians whatsoever. They have complete tunnel vision. And back under the dank, cold rail corridor once again. And we'll end it with a building that is quite different than the rest on the tour. And one more honorable mention. There you can see that sturdy looking triangular tower. That's 25 the Esplanade. This is an older building dating, I think, from the 1980s that has that very unique Flatiron style to it. I've always really liked this building, and I like the lack of balconies, as I've mentioned before. It's not very tall. It's definitely the shortest building I've shown on the tour, but I know it's very, very well done, and the units are quite large. I had a good friend who lived in this building, and she couldn't recommend it more, and I would live in this building in a heartbeat. And right beside it, honorable mention to wrap up the tour, is the L Tower. This one didn't quite turn out as nice as I was hoping. The only really redeeming thing about it is the cool curved rooftop, giving it that swooping semicircular crown. I was trying to think of the right term. The crown of the building, as you can see, curves up. So it definitely has a cool profile on the skyline. I'm not a fan of the glass, and they cheaped out on a lot of other things, including the base. So this one turned out to be a bit of a disappointment, and I've also heard it's had lots of problems since completion. But in any case, the shape alone warrants a mention. So that'll be it for my walk around the southern half of downtown, pointing out some of my favorite residential buildings. I'll do another tour another time for the other northern side of downtown. It would take far too long to do all of downtown in one video. So if you enjoyed this walk around, leave a comment below, and like and share and subscribe. And be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal and via my merch store. And you can also find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and be sure to keep checking back because, as always, I will continue.